Dando seguimento à nossa aula Homicide in the Context of Killing. Would you like to address questions now, or you want to?
So yeah, if there are urgent questions.
Se alguém tiver alguma questão urgente no sentido que tenha feito parte das reflexões expostas até agora.
Se não, podemos continuar e deixar os comentários para mais tarde. I would like to continue with the anthropology of homicide. The question really was, when I was thinking about anthropological foundations of homicide, what did I want to find out? I wanted to find out in how far is it true that the human being is special? Is the human being different from animals in that the humans, they kill each other in war and homicide, and animals do not? Like when you look at a squirrel or a bird, does a sparrow kill another sparrow just because he's jealous? I don't know, I don't think so. So I wanted to find out, is it true that the human animal is especially bad in that sense, that he kills people of their own species? And the second thing I wanted to find out was, what is it that makes homicide morally so reprehensible, so bad? Why do we have a negative moral judgment on homicide, and why don't we have the same negative moral judgment on wars and some other kinds of killings, maybe? So what is it that makes homicide so bad that even the Bible is against it? So, yeah, that were the two questions. And I think they are somehow interrelated. Now I think, today I think they are somehow interrelated. And I will make it short, and I will not read every sentence. It's a little repetitive, redundant. I think I can almost explain it standing up. In 1966, Konrad Lorenz, a etiologist in the sense of investigating the behavioral patterns of animals, he was of the opinion that only the human being is leading wars and kills other human beings for reasons of getting their money, getting their sneakers, getting their wives, and all these sort of things. So competition for material resources, for reproductive resources, that competition exists, according to Konrad Lorenz, also in the animal kingdom, but animals normally ritualize these competitions and normally don't kill each other because of that. We all know these movies, documentary movies of the animal planet, and all these different rituals that animals have of showing off and intimidating, etc., and even ramming their horns against each other, but seldom they kill each other. So Konrad Lorenz, at that time, he did not have the technological means that we have today. He was of the opinion, well, only the humans is especially bad, and the rest of the animals, they are better in the sense that they do not have intraspecies killings. Intraspecies killings in the sense of you kill within your own species. Animals kill other species and they like to eat them, but they stop short of eating their own species, which is very nice in a way. Now today, things look different. Today we know for sure that there are quite a few animals that also have intraspecies killing. Among them, some of the great apes, our relatives. But they are not so, they are not on the list of the top killers. But there are animals who also have a kind of warfare. There are ants, tribes of people or nations of ants that conduct warfare against other ants. But this kind of warfare, intraspecies warfare, is a very rare thing. So the humans, they belong to a small select group of animals that do war against their own species. And they also belong to a group of species that have intraspecies killings. One could call it animalicide, homicide for animals. Now, humans, they kill each other today at the rate of 6 or 7 per 100,000, excluding war, things like that. So the traditional homicide is 6 per 100,000. There are animals that are much worse than today's humans. And now I think I will have to go back to the text because the list of these animals is, well, the most unlikely animals are the worst. The ones that look nicest are the most beastly. In terms of intraspecies, homicide kind of behavior within their own species. I don't know if you all have the same picture in your mind when you think of the meerkat. The meerkat. Well, there are not many meerkats in Brazil, but the meerkat in German, das Erdmännchen, a small, tiny, very nice animal known from Walt Disney's children's movies, like Ice Age. I think in Ice Age, I think they have one. Não castor, menor, mais lindo. Olha, vamos ver. Vamos. Here we go.
É o suricato.
É? É suricato? Ah, suricato. É. Suricata, suricata. É latim e é português. Suricata, suricata, but é português, suricato. Ou suricata. Se for. Não são lindos ou lindas. They live, among other places, in the Kalahari Desert in Botswana, in the Namib Desert, in southwestern Angola, South Africa. A group of meerkats is called a mob, gang, or clan.
That makes sense.
That does make sense, and we will see that they have a homicide rate of humans have a homicide rate of 6, and I think they have a homicide rate of 20,000 per 100,000 inhabitants. Now let's see check. Yeah. Well, they mostly kill children, but also adults. And then lemurs and other animals with difficult names that are all somehow similar to these nice little, you could almost interchange them, and they all look so nice. And then when you don't see them, they're killers. So, now the question is, why do some animals commit intraspecies murder, and like the humans and the meerkats, and why do other animals don't do it? Now there comes Alexander Grigoriev and his collaborators in 2013, and they investigated that, and they came to the conclusion that it is because for some animals, but only some animals, it is an evolutionary advantage to kill people of their own kind. Now you have to explain why for some animals that is the case, and for some animals that's not the case. And the special question is, why is it so good for humans to kill other humans? And Grigoriev says, well, humans, because of their physical makeup and because of their high intelligence, they have a lot of advantages they can gain from killing people of their own kind that most other animals don't have. I will try to go into the arguments of Alexander Grigoriev. Well, for some time, to distract myself, I would just read selectively. Reproductive benefits from intraspecies violence, but intergroup violence. Now, within a species, you have different groups. You have, for instance, Germans and French people, and they had a big evolutionary advantage, it seems, killing each other. That's intraspecies, but it is intergroup. A German doesn't kill a German, well, we'll come to that later. But he kills people from another group of the same species. And that is fantastic for evolution. And this is what brought humans to this blossoming civilization that we have today, with computers and beautiful things, television. We would never have television if we had not engaged in intergroup, intra-specific killings. That's the basic idea. So the big question, what is war good for? Nothing, has to respond it with a lot. What is war good for? A lot. A lot of things. Unfortunately, that's at least what the evolutionists say. Especially for males, reproductive benefits from intraspecific intergroup aggression are high in humans, but primarily accrue to males. Intraspecific violence of the human animal normally takes the form of intergroup violence, which tends to reinforce parochial altruism. The more you kill French people, the more solidarity you will develop with other German peoples. Because we all have to stand together against these French. And over centuries, that was a natural law. That was, the French were so bad, you just had to feel good as Germans, and you had to develop your own German customs, and Germany, 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 and you were just a fan of Germany. And the French, as it happens, were fans of the French. Now, today we have this in football, and this seems to be a sort of a sublimation of these old, evolutionary, very important things. And hopefully the Copa del Mundo na Rússia também vai trazer progresso na evolução. Pode ser que sim, pode ser que não. Okay, especially males, they have a big evolutionary advantage. Females don't, for a number of reasons, and the way males look today, a large proportion of males looks very strong today, with a lot of muscles, etc. That a few 100,000 years ago, that was not the case. The women were very similar to men, but it split because of evolution, because men specialized in killing other people, and women specialized in other questions. And so for males to make war and to kill people from other groups was very good, and it was very good for intra-group solidarity, a certain warmth towards other members of the same group, and the development of characteristics that were also good for evolution, because when you have a war between Germany and France, what you need to solve the free rider problem. In a group, you can always be a free rider. The Germans go to war, and when they win the war, they have a lot of money, and everything is good, and you will also profit from it. So you are always tempted to be a free rider, and you have to solve this problem in a group. So intergroup violence has to deal with heroes. If the group does not give special honors and money and sex opportunities to heroes, then the group will lose the war against the French. The kind of warfare that humans have, they have to have heroes, initiative, sacrifice. You have to give a premium to the individual who is ready to sacrifice himself for the collective. And this is what all this hero stuff in war movies and things is about. The hero cult is very important for the success of the group, and the success of the group will build a solidarity, and the development of new weapons will increase the development of other instruments. So war sets free a number of characteristic refinements and technological progress. Technological progress is, in the first instance, war technology, and then in the second instance, war technology superiority, and war technology leads to technological advantages in other fields. So unfortunately, these evolutionary people, they say, well, no wonder that war with all these many victims is not considered as bad as individual homicide. Because individual homicide within your own group, that is individual, intraspecies, intra-group violence, is not functional for the survival of the group. What our ethical system rewards is always what is good for the group. what is good for the collective will be rewarded by ethics that say, well, this is good behavior. If you sacrifice yourself for your fatherland, that's fantastic. That is ethically very high-ranking. But if you kill somebody because you want his sneakers, and this guy happens to be from your own group, that is not good for the group. That destroys solidarity of the group, and it destroys the chances of the group to win a contest against the French. So that's very easy. And so our morality is derived from evolutionary legislation, so to say. And much of our ethics and religion can be explained in these evolutionary terms, and our hypocrisy also, and different moral standards, double moral standards, etc., etc. It's always conflicts between different groups, subgroup rationalities, etc. Because of course, also within your group, there are factions that are fighting each other, and that also has a evolutionary relevance. But then you have the whole group again, etc., etc. So warfare can enable the rise of ultra-social norms and complex society. Groups that contain more individuals willing to behave altruistically towards in-group members and act parochially towards out-group members may achieve greater evolutionary success in warfare, driving the evolution of human parochial altruism. Self-sacrificial behavior in war is thus associated with improved group outcomes. Intergroup violence enhances survival chances of those best at it, developing over time both a strong parochial altruism and equally strong xenophobia. So, parochial altruism, I help the people in my group, and I have solidarity with the people in my group. That is parochial altruism. I don't help people from the other group. I'm not that altruistic. As far as the other group is concerned, in evolution, humans, they spend 95% of the time on Earth within their groups, and the other groups, they were 60 kilometers away, and they were different, and they were dangerous because they could anticipate that when the two groups meet, somehow there would be competition for something. And if we are just nice, the other guys might be terrible, like Thomas Hobbes was explaining. So, since we are intelligent, and we know that if the other guys are aggressive and we are pacific, then they have an advantage. So, being intelligent, we have to attack them, even if we don't want to. But it's cleverer to attack them than to wait if they are not maybe attackers. So, rationality of the human tells us, well, maybe we're nice people, but if we want to preserve our chances for survival, it would be better if we attack them this night. To do it this night at 4 o'clock is better than to wait until tomorrow. So, that's pretty bad. So, we have parochial altruism, but we have an equally strong xenophobia, which is good for our survival in historical terms. So xenophobia is not really something irrational, but what the evolutionary people say is that it comes from deep down, and from deep down in history, and from deep down in our hearts. We hate, basically we are afraid of people that we don't know, and in dubio contra the guy, the stranger. But when intraspecific violence goes infragroup, there's a higher likelihood of negative social reactions. That will then be defined as homicide and prosecuted and stigmatized. is the male human animal a schizophrenic killer? Cum grano salis, yes. The male human animal, at least today, he likes to think of himself as a basically peaceful being, but indulges in the extermination of living organisms, including of his own species. Well, that's a little bit too radical. It's not really that true, but it's a little bit true. Well, maybe you have to have a lot of salt.
The guy is Russian.
I think you're xenophobic towards the Russians. Now, here's some numbers, which I really don't know if anything is true, but I think this is what they want to say. Alexander Georgiev. What he is also good at is expressions. I learned a lot of expressions from him. For instance, male-male coalitionary killings. Male-male coalitionary killings. Males band together with other males, build a coalition, and then they kill other males. Hopefully only other males. But yeah, it's basically a male thing. To kill, to be killed. In Brazil, for instance, I read the statistics. In Brazil, more than 95% of the killers are male. 93% of the victims are male. So it's a male-male thing, individual and coalition. Early modern humans, they killed each other at a rate of about 1,300 in 100,000. Now today, it's 6 per 100,000. But in the old days, together with the meerkats, we were pretty good killers with a homicide rate of 1,300. That is something that doesn't exist anymore. But the worst is the meerkat. 20,000 out of 100,000. They lose their lives. The meerkats there's also a YouTube on meerkats violence, but I will not use it to show it. The meerkats are followed by 2 types of monkeys. Now, as we know, monkeys are our relatives. And lemurs, we also stem from lemurs before the monkey. And no, the lemurs also are in the top list of killers. So we all belong to a killing intensive group of species. Now I will just read you, the meerkats is number 1. Then come 2 types of monkeys. Then come a number of lemurs. Then comes the New Zealand sea lion, the long-tailed marmot, the lion, the branded mongoose. Now, I didn't know what or who is the branded mongoose. And I looked the branded mongoose up, and what do I see? A meerkat-like person. A small little nice animal that is living in gangs and clans and gives a picturesque impression. Now that's the long-tailed marmot and the branded mongoose and the gray wolf. And then already comes the human animal. Especially now, another expression I learned is fission fusion. I don't know if you have come across fission fusion. Fission fusion is a type of social organization over time. Groups, some animals, but also some humans, they have different forms of being together or not being together over time. Fission is to go away, to spread out. For instance, the Eskimos, the Inuit, they have, as we all know, they have a summer law and a winter law. And they have a summer behavior and a winter behavior. They are fission fusion society. Fission fusion means the spring comes and the Inuit dissipate over the tundra and they go alone or in very, very small groups. They go their ways. And then comes autumn and they all get together, and they get very much together in their igloos, and they live very close, and it's very hot in the igloos, and then they kill each other every now and then. And over summer, they are so spreading out, nobody kills nobody. So they have a special, and they say that over summer they are atheists, and in winter they have a religion. Over summer they have summer law, in winter they have winter law. And in winter they kill each other, but they love each other, they have beautiful festivities, parties, etc. But as it happens at parties, somebody sometimes gets in a row with other people. So they have a lot of parties, a lot of sex, a lot of food, a lot of good times, a lot of religion, a lot of homicides. Not a lot, but a few. So that is fission fusion. Fission is to go away, fusion is to fuse again, to come together. And these fission fusion societies, both in the human realm, and that's what Mr. Georgiev says, they are prone to intraspecies, intra-group,